Hi again guys, and welcome to episode 5 of D.A.R.C, or Does Anyone Really Care? The series where I'm doing a mini review of certain cars which most people just completely forget. Maybe they've got it in their garage but they never use it, maybe they don't even know it's on the game, or maybe, in the case of this car, they kind of don't want to potentially waste the money on a car that may be rubbish. Now this episode, as you can see, is featuring the 1952 Abarth Biposto 1500 B.A.T 1. Quite a mouthful. So, it costs 3.5 million credits. It's one of the most expensive cars in the game. Fully tuned, it has just over 250 horsepower and weighs just over 750 kilos. Also fully tuned, it sits at just over 480 pp, and it can easily do a whopping 180 miles per hour or more with NOS. So, is it worth 3.5 million? Well, that depends really on your definition of worth. From a performance point of view, it's pretty much the worst value car in the game. Because if you work out how much you're paying for every mile per hour that this car can do, it's stupidly bad value. But to be fair, that's not really the kind of reason that you buy this car. Now, whether or not this car will have value for you personally depends on what kind of Gran Turismo player you are. If you're someone who's looking to spend as little money as possible on a car that's as quick as possible, then no, you definitely won't think that this car is good value. If, however, you're the kind of person who likes collecting cars, who likes cars that take a while to save up for, and cars that just make nice little cruisers, cars which most people don't own, cars which you can show up in and feel like the business, then this car is definitely for you. And that's the exact reason why I love this car. Sure, it's expensive. It's way too expensive. But that's why it's so cool. It's such a silly price for a car which essentially just has the performance of a hot hatch. But you're not paying for the performance. Before I ever used this car, I knew it wasn't going to be all that quick. Now, that said, it's definitely not a slow car. I've never actually used it in racing or to set competitive lap times, so I can't really tell you how it fares there. But for a cruising car, on tracks like Sierra or the Nürburgring, it's pretty quick. Like I said, I don't know what kind of lap times, I can't recall what laps I've set in this car, but it does handle really, really well, which isn't surprising considering it's rear-wheel drive and lightweight. But it does handle really, really well. It's very easy to drive. You can kind of drift it. I mean, I've got it on racing soft tyres, so not so much, but if you put it on inferior quality tyres, sure, you can drift this car. In terms of performance, well, I already said it can do around 180 or more, so it's not slow, but it ain't going to break any records. The acceleration is okay, like I said, similar to a hot hatch. The handling is a lot better than a hot hatch though, because most of the hot hatches are front wheel drive and have a lot of wheel spin. This car has very minimal wheel spin. Essentially, this car only really wheel spins when you actually want it to. Apart from that, it's a very nice little car to drive. The handling is fairly loose, but not slippery. The turn-in is very good, it's very sharp, which is surprising for a classic car. Usually they're notorious for having bad handling, but this one actually handles really well. Now, the most controversial point about this car is its looks. Now, it's a bit of a Marmite car. You either like it or you don't. Personally, I love the look of this car. I think it's cool, it's different. It looks kind of like an Alfa Romeo from the 60s that's been crossed with a spaceship. I think that looks awesome. It's got the unique headlight layout, which interestingly, and you won't know this, probably won't know this if you haven't owned one, but on nighttime tracks, you can actually switch between using your outer two lights or the centre headlight on its own, which is pretty cool. It's the only car in the game that has one single headlight as an option. So if you use it online in a dark, on a dark track, people might think there's a motorbike coming up behind them. Maybe only if they're stupid. But anyway, it's the only car in the game which has the option of having one headlight. But overall, it's a really great little car in my opinion. Just don't expect it to break any records. if you're looking for something different, something classy, something that's way ahead of its time in terms of style, then it's definitely the car for you. If you're looking for something that's going to break the Nürburgring lap record, it's fairly obvious that this probably isn't the car for you. So overall, would I recommend that you buy it? Well, I can't really recommend that you buy it unless you're the type of person who likes this car. But if you're like me and you like stuff that's different, that's quirky, that's oddball, and that you can just potter about on a cruise with, then yeah, I would definitely recommend this car. So that's it really, and as always, thanks for watching.